Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a huge topic, the professional identity behind students. Specifically, we're going to look at exactly how to engineer your scholar profile so it actually works for you.
Let's be real for a second. If you've been navigating the academic or early career landscape, you know that deep, gut-wrenching frustration of feeling like just another name in a massive stack of papers. You might be wondering, why am I submitting dozens of generic CVs and getting absolutely zero response? It's incredibly demoralizing, right? Most students start out by just listing their nice-to-have goals, but here we're aggressively targeting the immediate pain of blending into a sea of applicants. It's a marketing and psychological principle called pain over desire. We aren't starting with where you want to be in 10 years. Instead, we're tackling that stark, immediate frustration you are actively trying to solve right now. The pain of the black hole application process. Once we actually acknowledge that pain, we can fix it. We can shift you from being a passive student who's simply listing out facts into an irresistible offer.
So, what does this look like in practice? This perfectly illustrates the transformation principle. On the left, you've got the before state. It's your raw, pasted draft biography and those generic, dry academic facts. Honestly, this is where most students get stuck. It's a low-energy, frustrating document that just doesn't stand out. But contrast that with the after on the right, a high-converting, visually premium AI Scholar identity portfolio. It's literally night and day. In high-level copywriting, you don't just talk about what an offer is. You paint a vivid picture of the transformation. It's about taking someone from feeling stuck and totally ignored to feeling successful and relieved. The contrast isn't just visual, guys. It's psychological, and it is the exact leap you need to make to instantly capture a recruiter or professor's attention.
Okay, so we need to completely redefine our academic presence. What we're talking about here is a scholar identity. Think of it as a high-converting professional footprint. It isn't just a boring ledger of what you've done, like a traditional resume. Instead, it's an engine that leverages emotion, hooking the viewer's attention instantly, and pairs it perfectly with logical justification. Why is this duality absolutely crucial? Well, because the person reviewing your application needs to feel completely safe to act and reach out to you. Emotion gets their attention, but logic seals the deal. You are communicating massive value to a premium target. You're moving away from being just another applicant hoping for a lucky break to being a highly sought-after asset that institutions actively want to recruit.
Let's move over to the actual student CV builder blueprint and see how this builds out practically. Your auto-structured scholar page comes together in 4 deliberate steps. Step 1, the identity and crest customizer. Step 2, lab research and thesis history. Step 3, publications and preprints. And finally, Step 4, course mastery badges. This is a step-by-step framework to build a high-conversion asset. You aren't just throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. You are constructing a highly intentional narrative of competence and authority. Each step directly builds on the last, creating a comprehensive profile that leaves absolutely zero doubt about your capabilities.
Now, what's really fascinating about this is how the technology aligns directly with human psychology. Let's map these platform features to direct response principles. The AI Scholar Copilot acts as your irresistible offer. Theme presets are perfectly paired with the concept of valuing the target. And mastery badges, they connect directly to social proof. We're taking exact platform features and using them as direct response triggers. These aren't just nice-to-have design elements to make things look pretty. They are specifically engineered to induce a massive, positive viewer response to your profile. By understanding the psychology behind the features, you really unlock the true power of your professional identity. Let's break those down, starting with a powerful concept from the platform, using a pasted draft biography or raw CV to build everything in one click. This is the AI Copilot feature in action, and psychologically, it acts as your irresistible offer. Let's face it, when you're building your own identity, friction is your absolute biggest enemy. As a student, you're already totally overwhelmed with coursework, lab hours, and probably a healthy dose of imposter syndrome. The thought of spending weeks coding a website or formatting a portfolio, it's paralyzing. So this feature frames your page creation as a massive low-friction win that leaves absolutely no room for hesitation. You literally just paste what you have and the AI sets up the whole shebang. It's an immediate, high-value win that focuses entirely on your self-interest and keeps your momentum moving forward. Once that foundation is generated, we move smoothly into positioning. Think about the power of these monogram crest logo styles. You've got options like the traditional shield crest, the scientific helix node, the modern rounded grid, and the minimalist double ring. So why does a logo actually matter for a student? Well, because it tactfully plays into the ego and tradition of academia. Customizing your visual identity with these specific crest options subtly elevates your status. It's a visual shorthand that challenges the viewer's perception. Instead of looking like a novice, you immediately position yourself as a premium, serious candidate who fundamentally understands the visual language of authority and professionalism.
Building on that visual authority, let's talk about theme preset layouts. You aren't stuck with some boring white page or a generic clunky template. You can choose a modern glass grid, the highly academic LaTeX preprint in ivory, a creative mesh gradient, or even a dark cyber laboratory. By utilizing these sophisticated presets, you are strictly applying the valuing the target principle. You are assuming the person reviewing your profile is a premium buyer, maybe a top-tier recruiter, a prestigious lab director, or a fellowship committee. By presenting yourself within a high-end design framework, you communicate massive value and ensure you never, ever cheapen your professional offering.
Now contrast that premium design with a stark, intimidating number: 0. This represents the default publication state on a brand new profile. But it's not just an empty field, right? This uses psychologically sharp phrasing to trigger a healthy dose of ego and fear. Seeing that 0 triggers a subtle fear of missing out, or a fear of staying stuck at the starting line. It challenges your ego. It actively motivates you to get into the lab, to write, to collaborate, and to build out your academic citations so you can change that number. It's actually a brilliant way the platform pushes you toward continuous self-improvement, all without feeling like you're getting a lecture. And to change that 0, you need a highly specific plan. Consider this timeline. 1 month, add a lab step. 3 months, record thesis history. 6 months, add a paper or preprint. By dynamically adding your research projects over time in this structured way, you utilize the hyper-specificity principle. Direct response psychology tells us to never use generic advice or fluffy buzzwords. Simply claiming you're research-oriented means absolutely nothing to a recruiter. Instead, by breaking your progress down into these tangible milestones, specific lab steps, specific thesis history, concrete papers, you provide undeniable details. You are literally showing them the receipts of your hard work, proving your momentum over time.
And speaking of receipts, let's talk about highlighting complex courses using course mastery badges. Look, anyone can type a high GPA onto a resume. It's one of the most common and, frankly, easily overlooked data points out there. But this feature acts as the ultimate social proof. It seamlessly weaves in visual evidence that you haven't just attended a class, but that you have genuinely mastered complex coursework. It signals to reviewers that you are already winning in your field. Going back to our core definition, this is the concrete, logical justification that backs up the emotional hook of your premium design. It makes the viewer feel completely secure in their decision to reach out to you. Finally, all of this engineering culminates in claiming your custom URL slug. Making your web page searchable and public focuses entirely on this self-interest principle, specifically your own self-interest. Having a dedicated custom URL makes your highly engineered portfolio incredibly easy to share across networks, applications, and emails. You aren't just a piece of paper lost in a drawer anymore. You're an accessible, searchable entity. By optimizing your digital footprint in this way, you make yourself ready to be discovered by the exact people who are already actively searching for your specific skills and who desperately demand what you have to offer. Which brings us to our conclusion. Honestly ask yourself, on paper, right now, are you just a passive list of facts, or are you a highly engineered, irresistible offer? I'm going to leave you with that provocative thought. Consider the true psychological impact of your academic footprint. As you set out to build your own custom scholar identity, remember that you have the power and the exact psychological tools to dictate how the world perceives your value. Don't just be another applicant and a stack of generic CVs. Engineer your identity, leverage these principles, and be the absolute obvious choice.